Right now at 5, an emotional gathering in Kansas City as dozens of people join together for a rally against guns.
And we've got ourselves a chilly start to the day, but it's going to be warmer, and we'll have a few clouds, maybe even a stray shower or two. We'll take a look at that in the forecast coming up.
Plus, Countryside Christian Church hosts a poverty simulation for the community of Pittsburgh.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
And I'm Chris Warner. So it is a bit on the cold side out there this morning.
Surprisingly, I thought it was supposed to be nice this week.
It's going to be nice this week. We just have to get through this little bit of a cold start out there, but then it's going to warm up. And then, believe it or not, we have thunderstorm chances.
No way.
Later this week. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We're starting to pick back up as we head into the, the next to last week of February. That's hard to believe.
Right?
And it's a leap year, and the month is still going by like that.
Truly.
Well, let's take a quick look outside, shall we? This is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin, and we can see that it is a wee bit on the breezy side. Not too bad. It's going to be a little windy today, and otherwise, we've got clear skies out there, but it is cold. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line, looking back to the west, looking pretty good as well this morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker doesn't have anything to show on it at this point, but take a look out to the west. You can see some cloud cover. You can see a few showers out there, and that may bring us a chance for an isolated shower or two as we head into the afternoon hours. Right now around the region, though, again, I think this is a temperature anomaly. It shows up every so often. I do not believe it is 11 degrees in Grove right now, especially considering that everyone else is into the upper 20s and lower 30s. But again, regardless, it is a chilly start to the day. Most kids, no school today. The schools, some of them calling it, teacher professional development. It's because it's President's Day, so kids are out. And we are looking at, again, a bit breezy. We could see occasional gusts upwards out of the southwest, upwards of 20. We're going to see some gradually increasing clouds. We'll go partly cloudy, even mostly cloudy in some cases later today. And by mid-afternoon, we could see an isolated shower or two. Now, most folks should remain dry, but a few stray showers will be possible. And then again, we have thunderstorm chances later this week. Oh, by the way, highs today, we're talking about mid-upper 50s out there, and we'll warm up as we go through the week as well. We'll talk about the warm-up, we'll talk about those thunderstorm chances, and all of that great information here in that full forecast in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Pittsburgh police arrested a man who they say was engaging in a lewd sexual act near a daycare. It happened on Thursday around 3:30 p.m. Authorities say 18-year-old Walter Lalimo was seen in the act by a daycare on East 13th Street. After a short chase, Lalimo was arrested. He's currently held without bond. An emotional gathering in Kansas City, Missouri Saturday as dozens of people joined together for a rally against guns. Some in the crowd held up signs to ban assault weapons. The protest happened just days after gunfire erupted at a celebration honoring the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. 43-year-old mother and disc jockey Lisa Lopez Galvin died. At least 23 other people were hurt during the shooting. During the rally, Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas called for change and told demonstrators, quote, "It doesn't have to be this way."
I'm just a guy who wants to make sure that I can drop my kid off at daycare without the fear of him being shot.
Right.
That we can play in a park without the fear of him being shot.
Right.
That we can go to a parade without the fear of him being shot.
Police have charged 2 juveniles in connection with the shooting and say there could be more arrests. Sunday afternoon, a fire alarm caused the Olive Garden in Joplin to evacuate. Joplin Fire say that the fire began outside in the landscaping mulch, then traveled inside. The fire was quickly put out, but the restaurant was closed for a few hours for inspection by the health department and to patch the wall outside of the building. The Olive Garden reopened, business as usual by dinner time. And if you're ever on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscast live, just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge on app stores of your choice. Just search for KOAM Plus. As part of Freeman's ongoing coverage of Heart Health Month, 2 Freeman cardiologist doctors, Ging Van Bang and Dr. Ryan Longnecker, and a Freeman patient, Dolores Field, gathered in the Hearts Library on Friday to share the story Dolores' unique procedure. Dolores underwent a valve-in, valve transcatheter mitral valve replacement, the first time the procedure has ever been done in Joplin.
He's my lifesaver.
Oh.
He gave me my life back, my quality of life back.
I'm grateful for the partnership I have with Dr. Longnecker so that I can trust my patients in his hands and vice versa so that we can take best care of our community.
Dr. Banks says there are a small number of hospitals in the U.S. who offer this specific procedure, and Freeman Health is now one of them. 12% of Kansas are currently experiencing poverty, and one organization in Pittsburgh is hoping to help people understand what it's like for those people. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
As poverty rates across America continue to rise, people are trying to better understand what struggling families are experiencing. The Cost of Poverty experience is an immersive way to do just that.
So it gives attendees the opportunity to live a month's time in poverty and go through all the stress that we maybe don't realize happens when people live in poverty.
Care Portal and the Southeast Kansas chapter of Safe Families for Children are partnering to offer this experience for the community in Pittsburgh. Each attendee represents a real person who has or is currently experiencing poverty in the United States.
It's awful. No, it's really good, but it's really an eye-opener, it really is. But there's so many facets of it. If you have children, if you're employed, if you're trying to navigate the legal system, all those impact each other a lot, and it's been really eye-opening.
Participants struggle to pay mortgages, buy groceries, find jobs or daycare, and struggle to find transportation. And for parents participating, the experience hits home.
It's no wonder people find themselves in challenging situations when they're doing as much as they can for their child.
Those in the simulation say they plan to use what they learn to help others.
I'm going to reach out and see who I can help in the community. I would love to help somebody try to navigate through where to go and what to do in the process.
In Pittsburgh, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The simulation was brought to Pittsburgh thanks to a grant from Evergy. To learn more about the Cost of Poverty experience, visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Missouri Southern Lions baseball team wrapped up their final weekend of non-conference games. We'll have the details. Plus, a group of breeders bring a cow to the Vatican as part of the European farmers' protest. And we have a warmer and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Struggling with the highs and lows of bond.
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions are wrapping up their final weekend of non-conference games. The baseball team 8-2 on the season, and they look to pick up a few more wins before MIAA conference play begins next week. Southern home early on Sunday morning. This game was postponed on Saturday, so they make it up with Lewis University on Sunday. Bottom of the second, 1-0 Lewis. Webb City's own Tragan Parker hits an RBI bloop single into center field. It's now tied 1-1. Later in the inning, Lions lead 2-1. Ethan Clark with the bases loaded. Didn't get all of it, but just enough for a base hit. Southern leads 3-1. Still in the second, Will Doherty sharply hits one to center. 2-run score, and the Lions now lead 6-1. So we go to the bottom of the fourth, Southern leading 7-2. Will Doherty launches this to left field and bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. We have a dog after the baseball out there. Ethan Clark manages to score. Missouri Southern goes on to win the game 13-6. Missouri Southern softball is also in action on Sunday. The Lions are wrapping up the Raising Cane's Festival Tournament just outside of Oklahoma City. Lions lose game 1 10-6, but Southern bounces back in game 2, winning 5-2. Southern's home opener is scheduled this Tuesday against Delta State. The Pitt State Gorillas were home for one more weekend before they travel to Washburn next weekend to open up conference play. On Sunday, the Gorillas host Southwest Baptist for a doubleheader. Pitt State at home taking on the Southwest Baptist Bearcats. Gorillas won game one of the series on Saturday, so we go to the bottom of the first. Austin Morkins drills this ball over the center fielder's head. 1 run scores, and Morkins is in there for an RBI triple. 1-0 Pitt State. Bottom of the fourth, Gorillas down 3-2. Jake Grauberger ties this game up with an RBI single. It's now 3-3. Next batter to the plate, Austin Morkins lines this past the second baseman. 2-run score, and it's a 2-run double. Pitt State takes a 5-3 lead. Bottom of the fifth, bases loaded, and Carson Coffey wakes everyone up with an opposite field grand slam. Pitt State wins big in game one, 25-3. The final score. So in game two of the doubleheader, Pitt State rolls on once again. The Gorillas win 15-0, and get this, Carson Coffey in both of his games yesterday goes 7 for 8, hits 3 homers and 12 RBIs. What a day for the junior outfielder from Bentonville. The Missouri Southern Lions men's basketball team is coming off of a big win over Pitt State this past Saturday. Lions starting to get things turned around with just 2 weeks remaining in the regular season. Missouri Southern really struggled out of the gate to begin the season. The Lions went 2-7 in their first 9 games, but since then Missouri Southern has gone 10-5 in their last 15. Lions are coming off a 3-point win over their rivals Pitt State. Second straight season, the Missouri Southern men's team has swept Pitt State in the regular season.
Gritty win, toughness win, and for our guys to stay the course. You know, we were up 7.5, and that game storming back to take the lead, for us not to get down and really not get too high, not get too low, and stay the course, and really get good buckets down the stretch, big buckets down the stretch, and keep timely stops. I'm just proud of our guys.
Hey, look, we coming in hot. You know what I'm saying? Look, we're gonna stay together, stay focused, stay in the gym, getting extra shots up. You know, make sure that we don't have a bad shooting night when we need to win. So we're gonna lock in, stay focused, and like I said, we coming in hot, so we're gonna be good.
Well, still to come, a new study shows grandparents can have a positive influence on a mother's mental health. We'll have those details. Plus, take another look at that forecast, including those thunderstorm chances, when the KOAM Morning News returns.
From the moment you call until you
will care. Nominate your Fort State hero today.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:17 now on this Monday morning. We're taking a live look from our camera on top of the Cornell complex out there. You can actually see some of the stars. It is a clear but cold start to the day for us. Murdoch camera, 32nd in range line, looking back to the west. Also looking pretty good this morning as the day gets underway. Now today, as mentioned, we could see a few stray showers. Now the future track is painting the areas in which a shower will be possible. It is not saying rain will be rampant in these areas, but this is where we could see a stray shower or two as we head later into the afternoon and into the early evening hours, and then things will clear out and will look considerably better as we head into the overnight hours out there. Right now in Joplin, it is cold. It is 32. It feels like 24 with a south breeze at 9 miles an hour, and temperatures again around the region. I think we just have a small temperature anomaly. We've discussed this before. Don't know exactly what causes this, but the system gets conflicting information in parts of northeastern Oklahoma. So I do not believe Miami, Grove, Jay, Anderson are in the teens. Probably about 10 degrees warmer than that. Most of us, though, upper 20s, low 30s across the area, so right about where we should be for the most part. We're going to be a bit breezy. We'll see occasional southwesterly wind gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour. Otherwise, we'll also have some increasing clouds. We're going to go partly cloudy. Some of us may go mostly cloudy later today, especially with those shower chances. And we're going to go upper 40s by late morning. Heading into the afternoon, mid to upper 50s for our highs, partly cloudy skies, and again, a stray shower or two possible. And then those will be out of here as we head later into the evening. And we'll start to see gradually clearing skies overnight tonight, falling back into the upper 30s. So now let's talk thunderstorm chances. A couple of possibilities. One is these get here late evening Wednesday. This particular version of the future track is going with a much later start, which is another possibility that we'll see these overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning, and then we could have a few lingering showers with us in the first part of our Thursday before skies do eventually clear. Despite the clouds and rain, though, doesn't stop us from warming up again on our Thursday. But our chances for thunderstorms will come Wednesday into early Thursday morning. So at this point, this is the first time we've had this in a while. This is a low-end risk in the dark green. This is a very low-end risk for a strong storm or two. If we did see any stronger storms, at this point, some small hail looks to be the primary concern, but we're still a couple of days out. Obviously, it's something we will keep an eye on for you regardless. As we go into our Tuesday, take a look at that. Upper 60s again near 70 Wednesday. Low to mid 60s Thursday with those shower chances out there in the first half of the day. And otherwise, we're looking at pretty much March weather as we head through the weekend and into next week. Temperatures upper 60s and lower 70s out there. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
20% off your new denture or partial through February 29th. Precision Dental in Jay, Oklahoma.
A new study shows grandparents can have a positive influence on a mother's mental health, especially when mothers are separated from their partners. Researchers in Finland tracked nearly 500,000 mothers of young children between 2000 and 2014. They found mothers were less likely to use antidepressants if their own parents were younger than 70, were still working, and did not have their own health problems. The study found access to grandparents helped make mothers feel less depressed, especially if they were apart from their partners. But moms with an older parent or in-laws in poor health or living far away were more likely to turn to antidepressants. If your pharmacy is out of your generic drug, you might not be alone. Now, federal regulators are looking into what's behind the shortages. The Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Health and Human Services are launching an inquiry. HHS says they plan to look at drug purchasing and wholesale companies to see if they're disrupting the supply chain. They want to hear from the public and have issued a request for information. The agencies already are teaming up with the Justice Department to see how corporate control of healthcare affects patients. Ever start a project but can't seem to concentrate enough to get it done? Anyone can get distracted, but there are ways to help your brain focus on the task ahead of you. Mandy Gaither has more with a health expert on how to help your brain avoid distraction.
It can happen when you're tired or because you're juggling too much. If you get easily distracted, you're not alone.
Our brains need gas in the tank to concentrate. Sleeping enough, taking breaks, taking time in nature. Think of them as fuels for our attention.
Chasing Life podcast host Dr. Sanjay Gupta says self-care is the first step in avoiding distraction. He says it can also improve our attention span. So can planning to do the hardest work in front of you at the time of day that you tend to be most focused. Gupta says to also be aware of unconscious distractions and make them intentional.
For example, instead of reaching for your phone when you hear a ping, say, I'll answer that text in 30 minutes after I finish this step.
And when you're getting a project done, be aware of thoughts that distract you. He says not to dwell on them, write them down instead.
Jotting those other to-do list items down can actually help offload them from our brains and keep you focused.
Gupta says to also keep a tidy workspace. He says research shows clutter can have a negative impact on executive function and mental health. And finally, think of a large task in front of you as a series of smaller tasks.
Studies show that our brains tend to prioritize small tasks over large ones. You will create opportunities as well to feel a sense of accomplishment, which will energize you to keep going.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Gupta says lack of sleep and stress both can take a toll on your brain function. So can mental health conditions like depression and anxiety. So he says self-care is a critical part of helping your brain function at its best. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a warm day out there. Could see an isolated shower or two, but otherwise not bad. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, one Pittsburgh group is hoping to bring the community together through games.
And we've got ourselves a pretty decent day. It's going to be a little warmer. We're going to have some clouds out there, maybe even a stray shower or two. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, kids in Joplin get creative with a wheel throwing class at Spiva's Center for the Arts.
The 4 States Most Watched News starts now.
Good morning, 4 States, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5:30 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner, and it is Monday.
That it is, Chris.
You know, I'm pretty sure the Mamas and Papas had a song about Monday.
Yes.
And the fact that you can't trust that day.
Mm-hmm.
But you can trust today, because it's going to be a pretty decent day.
All right.
But keep the umbrella handy. I'm full of useful information today, am I not? I'm full of useful information most days. Fortunately, the most useful information I'm full of is weather information. Let's take a quick look outside, shall we? This is our No, this is not our camera. This is MoDOT's camera. It belongs to them. We did not place it there. They did. And it is at 32nd and Range Line. It is looking back to the west. It is located on the southeast corner of the intersection. We've got a pretty decent start out there today. Not bad. Skywatch Storm Tracker, nothing much locally. In fact, we've got clear skies, but if you look out to the west, here are some clouds. I know that's some wintry precip showing up there, but that's not going to be an issue for us. But this is going to bring us some partly cloudy skies and the opportunity of a stray shower or two across the area as we head later into today. Temperatures around the region, upper 20s, low 30s. Again, we've already touched on this temperature anomaly with, I'm not sure what causes this. It happens every so often, but it is not in the teens in northeast Oklahoma. It is probably about 10 degrees warmer than that out there. As we get our day underway, we're going to be breezy. Southwest winds occasionally gusting to about 20 miles an hour. Clouds increase a little around the area, so partly cloudy skies. Some of us could go mostly cloudy, and a few of us could see an isolated shower or two out there. So just keep the umbrella handy. These are going to be isolated. Not everyone will see rain, but a few showers will be possible. However, we do have some thunderstorm chances as we head to Wednesday and some additional rain on Thursday. We'll take a look at all of that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Student musicians at Pittsburgh State yesterday performed outside their wind ensemble at the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts. The concert outside is compiled of different pieces rooted outside of the classical tradition and incorporates hip-hop, jazz, and folk music. The performance was free to the public and began at 3 yesterday afternoon. One Pittsburgh group is hoping to bring the community together through games. SideQuest is a local group that hopes to promote comics and games in a friendly and family environment. Yesterday, they hosted a free game day at the Pittsburgh Public Library. Attendees were invited to come together to play a variety of board or card games while meeting new people.
People should play board games because it is a great way to socialize, it's a great way to meet people, and it's a great way to play a game that you've never played before.
There are more than a dozen different games available to play. Organizers say they hope to continue holding similar events with even more participation. A local store is inviting kids to get a little more creative. Olson's Ace Hardware in Parsons is hosting a kids' hour for the public. Each month has a different theme that helps teach kids a different skill. Yesterday, participants were invited to come and create a Valentine's monster craft. Organizers say it is a great way to help support kids.
They're important. These kids are very important. Their education is important. To see them be excited about something is fun because not all kids have a great home life. Not all kids have the grandmas that live close.
The next Kids Hour will be hosted in March. Organizers say kids can plan to learn about plants and gardening. The Main Street Axe Company in Joplin invited locals to bring a teammate and sharpen their knife throwing skills yesterday at their first ever Knife Duels Throwing League. For $65, those in attendance could enjoy lunch and some prizes. Before the Axe Company's edition of Knife Duels, they only offered axe duels.
It's fun. If anybody's actually played duels with axes, you know, it's a very fun game itself, minus the rest of the other disciplines. So we thought with knives, it's something new. Yesterday's matches began at noon.
Area kids were able to learn about how to wheel throw Saturday at the Spiva Center for the Arts. Children ages 8 to 14 created some of their own pieces as instructor Stephanie Roy shared some tips and different wheel throwing techniques. Attendees were able to work on their projects from Saturday morning to noon.
I think starting them off, just experiencing things from a young age can really inspire them to do these things, because most of the kids in the area don't really have a chance to do stuff like this at home. So when they get the chance to come here and do it, and later on they find out, oh, I can do this, then it really makes that connection that they need.
Saturday's class cost $60 per student. Around 35 schools from across the area traveled to Joplin High School Saturday to compete in the Joplin Kaminsky Bullseye Tournament. Over 350 archers, grades 3 through 12, competed in 6 rounds of competition. The tournament serves as a way for the young athletes to challenge themselves.
Well, I enjoy seeing my son compete, as always, and he also plays different sports. But it's nice to see a bunch of kids. The parking lot's full out there today, so it gives an opportunity for all types of kids to come in here and shoot and do an activity for their school. You don't have to be fast, you don't have to jump high, so it's a lot of fun.
Brackets for Saturday's tournament consisted of elementary, middle school, and high school archers. The Miami Public Library Saturday welcomed STEAM students from around the 4 states for a STEAM social. The purpose of the event was to have fun while learning new things. Saturday's activities included coding, building structures with Legos, creating foam bugs, and dice wars.
STEAM is really important for different areas of learning. Learning can be fun. You can learn in a whole bunch of different ways, and it doesn't have to be super boring. It can be fun experiments, fun games, and stuff like that.
Saturday's event was free and open to all ages. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A new study finds climate change could bring crop-eating locusts to new areas. Plus, more pressure over the weekend from the families of those being held hostage in Gaza. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Committed to community service.
Topping World Watch, Ukrainian forces getting pushed back from their positions in the east as they urge the U.S. and other allies for more assistance in their fight against Russia's invasion. Correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has the latest.
The Kremlin says it's in full control of the town of Avdiivka in eastern Ukraine. Outnumbered Ukrainian troops forced to withdraw after months of fierce fighting. It's Russia's biggest victory in 9 months and a major setback for Ukraine, one that some lawmakers say signals the urgency of another aid package for the embattled country.
They've just had their first defeat, the Ukrainians, since last May, partly as a result of the fact that they're outgunned 10-1 by the Russians. We can help solve that problem for them, and we should.
A bill that would provide another $60 billion in funding for Ukraine is currently in limbo. A bipartisan alternative has been introduced, which includes funding for the southern border. Those in favor of sending aid say the impact of deterring Russian aggression goes beyond Ukraine's borders.
Who stops Vladimir Putin if he marches right into Kyiv, marches right into Ukraine from going further? And this is an international crisis.
The bulk of the assistance are weapons to be used on the battlefield. Republican Senator J.D. Vance is one of the most vocal opponents of sending more aid to Ukraine, arguing that with no end to the war in sight, the U.S. is not making enough munitions to support the cause indefinitely.
Can we send the level of weaponry we've sent for the last 18 months for the next 18 months? We simply cannot.
The ability of Congress to send more weapons to Ukraine will have a lasting impact on the battlefield after Ukraine's counteroffensive failed.
A new study finds climate change could bring crop-eating locusts to new areas. Desert locusts are a problem for farmers in northern Africa, South Asia, and the Middle East. The study found rising temperatures could expand their habitats by 25% in less than 100 years. Desert locusts thrive in hot, dry conditions, but need occasional rain for incubating their eggs in the soil. Global warming is working to their advantage by heating up their stomping grounds and intensifying the occasional rains there. They could start showing up in places like Afghanistan, India, Iran, and Turkmenistan. A group of breeders bring a cow to the Vatican for Sunday prayers as part of the European farmers' protest. The cow has become a symbol in Italy of the protest. One breeder writing a letter to Pope Francis asking if they could bring the cow to the Angelus, the traditional prayer led by Pope Francis. His secretary responded saying the farmers and breeders could come Sunday. Farmers have gathered on the outskirts of Rome in recent weeks in protests as they erupt in other European countries. They're demanding stricter control on imports, continued reduction of taxes, and fair prices for their products. Rival gangs who differ over an East African country's government clash in Europe Saturday night. Groups loyal to and opposed to the current government of Eritrea broke out in fighting and rioting in The Hague, Netherlands Saturday night. The loyalist group was holding a meeting when their venue was attacked by the opposition group. Rioters torched police cars and a bus while police had to use tear gas to quell the unrest. It's not unknown if anyone was injured or arrested. Thousands have left Eritrea for Europe because of alleged Eritrean government mistreatment, with unrest also happening in other European cities. And more pressure over the weekend from the families of those being held hostage in Gaza, calling for the Israeli government to do whatever it takes to free their loved ones. Correspondent Trey Yingst is in Tel Aviv with more.
Talks for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas appear to be stalled for now, as both sides call the other's demands unreasonable. This as demonstrations continue here in Tel Aviv, the family members of those being held hostage calling for an immediate agreement. Overnight, thousands of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv to call for the release of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. These protesters say time is running out for their government to act and reach an agreement, though Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected recent negotiations, calling Hamas's demands delusional.
The essence of our policy for the release of the hostages is strong military pressure and very firm negotiations.
Family members have waited 135 agonizing days for information about their loved ones. 135 days for a deal to be reached that could end their ongoing nightmare.
We need Benjamin Netanyahu to also stop playing games, okay? Get his team into Cairo, negotiate, put a fair deal on the table, and end this phase. Then talk about the day after, without the hostages being held.
Ruby Hen has advocated day and night for the release of his son Itai, an American citizen who was taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th.
You know, I think a 19-year-old kid, he's a kid. He has a lot to live for and a lot of things to experience. And I think he deserves that opportunity.
As diplomatic efforts continue to free the hostages, Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said in a briefing his country will continue to operate when possible to try and save those being held by Hamas.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
.org.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now about to be 5:47 on this Monday morning. We're taking a live look from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. It is cold, but we have clear skies for the time being, but we're going to see some changes as we go through today and into the middle of this week. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, looking back to the west, looking pretty good this morning as well. So let's talk about some of those changes. Now for today, we're looking at partly cloudy skies. Some of us may even go mostly cloudy for a bit, because as we head into the afternoon and evening, we could see a few isolated showers. Now again, the future track, not saying that there will be rain just widespread across the area. It is saying that this is where rain will be possible, and the darker greens are our better opportunities for a few of those isolated showers. And again, I'm just not sure what's going on with the computers today, but I guarantee you it will not be 35 degrees in Joplin by 3 o'clock today when everybody else is in the mid-50s. So just disregard that number there. By this evening, though, not only do the clouds roll out, the showers tag along with them. And we're looking at a clear night tonight, and then we're going to see another round of potential thunderstorms and showers as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. It is cold now, though. 32 in Joplin, 24 is what it feels like with a south breeze at about 9 miles an hour. And as I mentioned, it's just some kind of anomaly today. Maybe you just need to unplug everything and plug it back in. We've got a temperature anomaly in northeastern Oklahoma. I'd say add about 10 degrees to these temperatures here, because for the most part, we are into the upper 20s and low 30s across the area. And as we get our day underway, the clouds again gradually increasing, becoming partly cloudy, and we'll have occasional southwest wind gusts upwards of about 20 miles an hour, pushing into the upper 40s by late morning. Highs today, mid-upper 50s, again, partly cloudy skies and a few isolated showers possible out there for us. And then we see that gradual clearing through the evening. It's chilly, but above average, back into the upper 30s across the area for our lows. As we head into Wednesday, a couple of different scenarios here, and the one that at this point seems more likely is late Wednesday. We're talking very late into the overnight hours and early Thursday morning. We're going to see the opportunity for some showers and maybe initially where we get some discrete shower development, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there, and then that'll translate into showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms by Thursday morning across the area, and that will continue through the first half of our Thursday and be gone as we head into Thursday afternoon. Now, as such, we haven't shown this thing in a while. We do have a low-end risk, so all the way at the bottom of this scale, for some stronger storms across most of the areas we head into Wednesday. At this point, if we see any stronger storms, this will be late Wednesday into early Thursday. Small hail looks to be the primary risk with any of the stronger storms, but again, we're a couple of days out, lots to keep an eye on, but just a heads up, we could have a couple of more rambunctious thunderstorms come Wednesday into Thursday. Otherwise, March-like weather, temperatures 60s, even 70s as we head into next week, and we'll have those shower chances again Wednesday into Thursday. Great weekend ahead of us, and then some additional showers next Tuesday. And that's a check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Stop in or visit heritagetractor.com today. Exclusions apply. Offer ends March 16, 2024.
Police used an unorthodox costume and a form of Valentine's flattery to pull off an elaborate drug bust. And the whole thing was caught on camera. Jeremy Roth has today's. Take a look at this.
The scene of a suspected drug bust in Peru could be described as grisly, but only because there was a giant bear involved. A teddy bear, actually. Police dressed an officer in the goofy costume on the eve of Valentine's Day and armed him with balloons and gifts in order to coax a female drug suspect from her home. The teddy bear tactic worked, and as the flattered female emerged, the squad moved in and made a pair of arrests and seized a reported large cache of illegal substances. Peru's national police force are fast becoming known for their oddball busts. Last year, they dressed a cop as Santa Claus in order to make a Christmas time collar. But this latest bust by the fuzz, see what I did there? Proves the old saying, sometimes love hurts. A labor of love unfolded in a muddy California field as firefighters worked to free a cow trapped by a minor mudslide. The poor thing was stuck in the muck up to its neck, immobilized for almost a day, but after hours of digging, prodding, and prying, it was finally freed and, according to rescuers, was, no pun intended, utterly exhausted. All right, pun a little intended. Finally plucked from the muck in the UK was this freakiest of reptilian finds, a dinosaur-like alligator snapping turtle, which experts say was found way out of its element. It was spotted in an English pond by a dog walker and was later scooped up by authorities who say it was found a good 5,000 miles from its native habitat in the southeastern United States. If that's not weird enough, the armored turtle, which is capable of biting through bone, mind you, was nicknamed Fluffy by officials. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Those are some stories, but I'm glad that the cow got out and is safe. We'll be right back with more news after this.
Roofing consultants at Abernathy Roofing and
Former President Donald Trump's Never Surrender high-top sneakers sold out hours after he launched them at the Philadelphia Sneaker Con Saturday. The gold shoes sell for almost $400 and feature a T logo on the side and American flag detail on the back. Only 1,000 pairs were available according to the website. Besides the high-top sneakers, Trump also debuted a $99 bottle of perfume and cologne called Victory 47 and the POTUS 45 and the T-Red Wave sneaker, which retail for $200. Swifties are finding new ways to see the pop star live, many even going to the extent of gig tripping or traveling to see the star, whether her concert is in another state or overseas. Taylor Swift broke a record in ticket sales for her 2023 Eras Tour, but many were still left in the dust after Ticketmaster could not accommodate the demand. A report by Skyscanner says many Americans are open to traveling to see their favorite performer, with 60% of those surveyed being open to, quote, gig tripping abroad to save money. One travel company booked a family on a European vacation built around seeing Swift live. They are now turning that one concert into sightseeing all over Italy. The gig tripping phenomenon isn't new. Fans have been traveling all over the globe for the Jonas Brothers, Nicki Minaj, and Madonna, to name a few.
And we've got ourselves a cold start out there, but we'll gradually warm up. Upper 40s by late morning, partly cloudy skies as clouds gradually increase as well. And we could see occasional wind gusts out of the southwest, upwards of 20 miles an hour. Into the afternoon, partly cloudy skies. Some of us may go mostly cloudy with an isolated shower or two possible out there. I think most of us should remain dry, but a few showers will be possible into the afternoon and late afternoon hours, because by the time we hit the evening, not only do the showers clear out, the clouds begin to do so as well, and we'll fall back into the mid to upper 30s for our overnight lows, and then we settle into March-like weather a week before March even begins. Temperatures hanging out into the upper 60s, low 60s, even into the 70s as we head into next week. And we are watching the possibility of some stray thunderstorms late Wednesday into early Thursday. A couple of stronger storms may be possible with some small hails. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Otherwise, showers for the first half of our Thursday, those will clear out. We're briefly cool, back into the 70s and the 60s and 70s, and more showers possible by next Tuesday. And that's Check Your Forecast. We're back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Joplin Little Theater.